Hi, I'm John McAuliffe, Chief Marketing Officer of VFM Leonardo, and welcome to VTV. VTV has been produced for hotel e-commerce, marketing, and sales professionals to provide insights, knowledge, and learning from industry experts on how to extract more value from a hotel's presence on the internet. Each week I will interview an industry expert on a single topic. We have discovered many of these topics from industry people like yourself and encourage you to let us know if there is a topic you would like us to cover on future episodes of VTV. You can email us at vtv@vfmleonardo.com and make your suggestions anytime. Welcome to today's episode, titled, How to Know Where the Fish Are. Joining me today is Jeff Higley. Jeff is the editorial director at hotelnewsnow.com, which he recently launched for Smith Travel Research. He is immersed in the latest news and trends in the worldwide hotel industry and speaks with executives at hotel management companies to get their firsthand perspectives on what's happening in the industry. Jeff, thank you for joining me on VTV today, and welcome.
John, thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Today's topic, how to know where the fish are. You speak to a lot of hotel marketing people at brands, management companies, and at properties. And there's this old adage in the marketing world that states, fish where the fish are. And it is true. Really successful companies, or in this case hotels, know who their customers are and why they stay at their hotel, and they keep focused on that. Can you tell us from your conversations that you're having with hoteliers these days, where are the fish? In other words, where are hotels finding success in their online marketing efforts? And what do other hoteliers need to do in order to extract more value and success out of their online efforts?
Well, that's a good question. You know, it's interesting that you mentioned that. I was just reading an article about the Dead Sea and how it's shrinking. And I think, and how the fish are actually in the freshwater ponds and bodies of water that surround the Dead Sea. And I can't help but kind of equate that to what's going on in the hotel industry right now, because, you know, 2 years ago, the hotel sea was just flush with fish. There were it was a seller's market. Hotels had command of the pricing, hotels had command of the inventory, and it was a good day for hotels. Now, however, much like the Dead Sea is shrinking, the hotel sea has kind of shriveled up because of the recession, and you had your corporate travelers leave, you've had your leisure travelers go. So the marketing aspect of it is more important than ever to hook those fish, the fewer fish that are out there. I think the people that are doing the right thing are the ones that are blanketing the market. We know the attention span of consumers is not a big attention span. There is a constant fight for eyeballs on whether it's internet, whether it's magazines, whether it's television, or other means of advertising. So the key in my mind is during this difficult time, and I know this is a tough pill for hotel operators to swallow, is you can't cut back on your marketing. You've got to continue to reach the people that are traveling, continue to have top of mind awareness to the people that aren't traveling but will travel once the rebound comes. So the essential thing is to make sure that your branding message is out there, make sure that you have a message that is cohesive with what you've been doing all along, and make sure you have a message that is that relates to that the consumer can relate to, because they're going to continue shopping. They're going to go to every conceivable website, to every conceivable channel to find out more about what's out there, and especially during this type of environment, what kind of value add packages, what's in it for them. They are going to search high and low, and if they're going to travel, that you want it to be with you because you're getting the right message in front of them. So the message that I have to hoteliers is those that are getting the message out in a strong, aggressive fashion during this kind of environment are going to be the long-term winners.
You mentioned a couple of things that I want to touch upon. One is it sounds like the focus on how do you maximize the effectiveness of the marketing activities that you have online? And then the secondary part to that is how do you ensure that that value-added presentation or that value-added experience that you want the travel shopper to experience online is in fact consistent from site to site? Because as you said, shoppers will go on many sites. In fact, depending on what research you read, they use anywhere between 4 and 12 websites before they make a purchase decision. So what types of activities are you seeing successful hotel companies use online that will A, maximize that effectiveness of their dollar, and B, ensure that they have a consistent experience no matter where shoppers shop online?
Well, the key in the hotel industry is because it's such a broad industry and it really encompasses a lot of various levels of management, if you will. When you're talking about the brand management, you're talking about perhaps owners, the various levels in there, and then you're also talking about the various levels of management and management companies. The companies that are successful with their online campaigns are the ones that take it by the horns and make sure that everybody at every level understands what's going on. And to do that, you really need professionals and you really need people who understand that medium to ensure that you're reaching the right people and making sure that they understand search engine optimization, making sure that they understand the type of content that your intended audience wants to receive. If you are marketing to millennials and you have an Edsel of a marketing campaign, you need to change that. And if you don't have the personnel or the expertise in-house, you need to look outside to experts to help you attain that. So first of all, the hotel companies that are successful in this understand that you need the tools, and that could be human resources tools, not just the technological tools that you need to attract the audience. And then I think the other important thing, and I touched on it briefly, is you've got to mine your audience. You've got to know your audience. It's not necessarily just a kid's world out here in the world of the internet. There are a lot of baby boomers that are 60, 65 that use the internet to their advantage by being savvy, by being very patient, and certainly by being well educated on the various channels on the internet that they can turn to. So you've got to know your audience, and if that means doing some research to find that out, you can't just guess. If you're guessing, your results are going to show that. They're going to be mediocre, and they're not going to be productive in terms of turning it into revenue for you. So I think that's probably the fundamental thing that the hotel companies that are successful are doing is that if they don't know their stuff, they're going out and finding people who do know their stuff. And that doesn't necessarily mean every kid that comes out of college with a video camera is going to be the one that is going to help you take your web presence to the next level. You've got to make sure that they understand what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish.
You mentioned an interesting point, and that is the ability to know your audience. Certainly, in the past 20, 30 years, we've moved very much from a marketing approach that everybody is the same to an approach that says different people buy for different reasons. And that's all about segmenting your audience and knowing what your audience is and what motivates each one of them to purchase. What advice would you give to a hotelier that wants to go through an exercise of understanding who are my customers and how do I actually get them motivated or inspired to want to stay at my hotel?
John, first of all, the advice is that you've got to bite the bullet and put some budget aside for that type of a venture. It doesn't have to be millions of dollars, although you could spend that much. You've got to budget for it. You've got to find the right vehicle for you to find that audience. You've got to make sure that if you don't have the personnel in house, that you can find a third party that can do that, because the only way to know your audience is to talk to your audience. you can't assume anything in this day and age. We just talked about the baby boomers, and perhaps the assumption is that they're not tech savvy. Well, I've got news for you. They're a lot more tech savvy than what you would expect. And on the other end of the spectrum, not all 25-year-olds are looking for that hot nightclub experience that that lifestyle hotels seem to want to put in their lobby. Perhaps they want a little bit more of a laid-back experience. So knowing your potential guests, getting to know them, talking to them, and fully understanding what they're telling you, not just hearing what you think you want to hear, is of the utmost importance. And the only way to do that I know of is to communicate with them. And even in this day and age of technology, the best way to do that is face-to-face. So whether it's focus groups, whether it's going to your hotels and actually having the surveys conducted on site, or whether it's through a webinar type of a situation or a webcast type of a situation where you can engage them back and forth, any of those options are certainly good options to learn and listen and learn to what your current customers and potential customers want to tell you. It's no different. The segmentation in consumers is no different than the segmentation in hotels itself. We have a luxury segment for a reason. We have an economy segment for a reason, and everything else in between for a reason. Because there's developers that want to develop in those, there are owners that want to own those types of hotels, there are managers that manage those hotels, and there are guests that want to stay at every one of those hotels for a specific reason. And lastly, I guess one of the things that always amazes me is this the advent of lifestyle hotels in our industry these days. And a lot of it is done because they are talking to their customers, so I certainly applaud that. But lifestyle hotels go back to the dawn of the branding and franchising of hotels. Holiday Inn, at its inception, was a lifestyle hotel for the family that was traveling with the 2.8 kids in 1950. Knights Inn was a lifestyle hotel that catered to the trucker market. So, the bottom line is that knowing your audience is important. Talking to them and understanding them is going to be the key ingredient to making sure that your any kind of online campaign is important.
Jeff, thank you for joining us today on VTV. We enjoyed your insights and the knowledge that you brought to us.
John, it was my pleasure. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
To all the viewers out there, be sure to visit vtv.vfmleonardo.com and post your comments. Tune in next week for more from another industry expert.